camera crew and 2 sound people with it. So perhaps we've got the timing wrong here. My name is Jim Tinsman, and I am a member of the class of '52. The attendance we had this year was greatly dictated and bulked up by the fact that one of the members of the class had been selected for an academic award. The recipient of the award is Robert Brady Williamson, who did outstanding scientific work in several different fields, as well as provide leadership in the academic field, a very deserving recipient. In view today of the importance of science and academics in the future of this country. Brady came to Penn Day as a freshman. Since a number of the people from Prairie Grade School migrated over as a freshman that year, we knew what we were getting in that class when Brady arrived, because he had been at Prairie Grade School. And I'd like to regress a minute and talk a little bit about Brady at Prairie Grade School, and then we'll return to Penn Day. This is a lot longer discussion than what we've had previous about this matter. When I first met Brady at Penn Day, he had Coke-like glasses, wore a big white patch over his right eye, and if that wasn't enough, he stuttered. And I tell you what, a group of children in the 4th grade can really attack a person like that. It's kind of like a tiger in the woods finding a lame deer. Nothing like that happened. He was a friendly guy, he got along with the class, he was energetic, he participated, and he loved recesses. And when you're in grade school, it's the recess that sets the style. Now, he later distinguished himself because he discovered that if you lifted the manhole covers in the boys' bathroom, you could descend into a rectangular cement tunnel which conducted the air ducts for providing heat to different parts of the building. I have often wondered about the excitement of being in those tunnels wasn't what unknowingly created an interest in Brady's part in cement and in heat and fire. I can remember Brady bringing to the table new ideas to expand the tunneling. Now, I would consider these innovations. They consist of simple things. Now, we were in 5th or 6th grade now. This isn't rocket science yet. Well, flashlights. We could leave them in the tunnel as we came out through the manhole, and we'd be all right. You wanted to have knee pads. It was dusty, dirty, and you didn't get that kind of stuff on your knee playing on a cement playground. Thirdly, he said, we need a watch. We have to measure the time from the manhole halfway, and then we'll be back in time to enter through the same manhole and beat the class time started. Well, these innovations, obviously, to us were a prime example of quite a creative mind. Now, I often wonder that maybe tunneling in those tunnels that he enjoyed greatly, and it was exciting, weren't a harbinger of a fellow that had a very creative mind. And that at some point in the future, he would have an opportunity to use that creativity on purposes far more important than tunnel under Prairie Grade School. When he came to Prairie, he immediately started playing football. And he was guard. He played next to Guyton Hamilton, a member of the class of '52. And Guyton confided in me, he said, you know, when Brady sidled up, I felt very comfortable because he was going to handle the mean guys in front, and all I had to remember was who I was supposed to center the ball to. Well, Brady turned into a darn good football player. He was a good blocker, and he was very fortunate to have running behind him a fellow by the name of Paul Hunt, who was an outstanding runner. And so for 2 or 3 years, we had very successful football teams. In fact, Brady was real cool with Joe Skelett. I think everybody remembers Joe Skelett. Joe was a coach, and he had a philosophy. It really is theology of, it's about 5 or 6 words. Work hard, good things happen. You can take that backwards too. Forwards or backwards, it's going to work out. And I think by the end of Brady's football career, he had convinced Joe Skelett that he lived in the Argentine, which is absolutely the cradle of good football from Joe's standpoint. Now, he lived out west of Mission Road, and nobody knew how to play football that came from west of Mission Road. Brady was, I never saw Brady in the Saturday makeup classes for physics or chemistry. And these were quite popular classes. On Saturday, but Brady wasn't attending, and that one fact should have led us to think, well, maybe there's a future for Brady here. I remember running into Brady, having breakfast with him on the 50th anniversary. And we talked about a number of things. I knew he'd been involved with cement, mentioned cement. But Brady never mentioned that he had been working on the morphology of cement and hydrates and some things like that. And the most amazing part of that was that all through Brady's career as a scientist, he had a problem with his eyes. What we had noticed in 4th grade never went away. Operations, whatever he did, and he worked on it. They were always with him, yet he was able to see the mythology that other people were examining and never saw. He was California good and nationally the best. He never mentioned when we were talking that he had kind of turned, if I can picture it right, the corner of his office where he burned things. He never mentioned that to me. Brady wasn't one to brag what he was doing. He wasn't one to say, well, you know, I was the first to get on that one. He wasn't that type of person. And bringing up the fact that he was working on fire, what was flammable and what is not, I want to read you a little something that was sent me by Hoyt Purcell, who failed on getting the TV folks out here. I was sleepless at 2 a.m. in Calgary, and Hoyt lived in Calgary for about 25 years. One night and turned on the television. There was Professor Brady Williamson demonstrated that a sheet of styrofoam, rated fireproof, burned like hell if you held vertically in open air and ignited it at the bottom. Bill Fury, another member of the class of '52, built a reinforced concrete house in Liberty so his artwork couldn't be burned up. The concrete walls were covered inside with styrofoam under wallboard. I told my wife, who had for some time divorced Bill Fury, about Brady's discovery. She said, "Don't tell Bill Fury." But the story points out the misconception that people had on what flammable meant and what non-flammable meant. And he was so successful in this that I think he created a wave that must have been very upsetting to a number of industries that supplied non-flammable material. I imagine that Brady felt he had a number of influences on his successful career. And among them, I think he would have mentioned first his mother. His mother was way ahead we're